It is week 2 of high school football here at Bobby Lackey Stadium. The Weslaco Panthers taking on the Ed Calchelsa Yellow Jackets. The Panthers 1-0 on the young season. The Jackets 0-1. Hello, everybody. Carlos Robledo along with Mike Gonzalez for the KWES pregame show. And a little bit something different here at Bobby Lackey Stadium. If you take a look, we got ourselves a new scoreboard here for you to highlight the great athletes that we have here and the students at WISD. And it is a beautiful, beautiful scoreboard here just to enhance the environment here at Bobby Lackey Stadium. Mike, there it is right there on the screen.
It's a beautiful, beautiful scoreboard, one of its kind. I'm told that it's the biggest and the best down here in South Texas. The dimensions just for the screen alone, Carlos, is 36 feet high, 66 feet wide. And that's just the screen alone, Carlos. And I mean, I remember as a kid going to Barbie Field. I mean, it's probably a quarter of the size, and now look at what we have today. A couple of years from now, maybe they'll probably see our wrinkles.
It was time for an upgrade. The other scoreboard was 13 years old, so it was time for a new one. So we hope everyone who comes to the game today and for the rest of the season enjoys the new scoreboard. All right, let's talk football now, because what a game we had last week. The Weslaco Panthers beat McAllen Rowe by a score of 28-7. Ed Calchelsa lost to Corpus Christi Memorial, but they're an up-and-coming team, Mike. They have a new coach, giving them a little bit of time, and I think the Jackets will be okay.
When you talk about La Máquina Maria, you're talking about tradition, a perennial power here in the Mid-Valley. I mean, going 3 rounds deep, at times 4 rounds deep, and now they're under our first-year head coach, Bradley Chavez. He used to be an assistant at Texas A&M Kingsville as a receivers coach. Last year, coached at Santa Gertrudis Academy, went 2-8. But guess what, Carlos? He also played in the NFL for the Cleveland Browns, signed as a free agent, was a standout receiver at Alabama Birmingham.
All right, so we'll check out the Ed Calchelsa Yellow Jackets later on tonight as they take on the Weslaco Panthers. Let's take a look at some of the highlights from last week's game, because, what a contest we had over at McAllen Memorial Stadium. It was a Thursday night game, just like it's a Thursday night game also here tonight. The highlights in this one, and what a game it started off here. It started off with an onside kick, with a squib kick. We're not really sure. Either way, the Panthers got the ball first, and this is Jacob Cavazos running with the football right there, getting into the red zone right there at the 10-yard line. Then the next play, they give it to Devin Denna. He finishes the drive, and that's the way you start the 2018 season. First offensive drive, and they get themselves a touchdown. No score till the third quarter, then an interception here. Axel Camarena with the big INT and the nice return. So much speed on that defensive side of the ball. He was able to set up the next score for the Panthers to make it 14-0. And this is Jaden Cavazos. Watch the cat right there, Mike Gonzalez. Did you think he was going to catch it? Watch it again.
I mean, not only that, Carlos, he was able to get both feet in bounds. Look at the concentration. And look at that, 1-2 feet possession. Touchdown.
All right, still in the third quarter, Jaden Kanab, the fullback, running back, whatever you want to call him, he scored a touchdown for the Panthers last week. A nice little screen play right here, opened up plenty of lanes for Kanab, and he gets into the end zone. Great speed there, using his blockers down the field to score to make it 21-0 Panthers. Cavazos made it 28-0 with a nice little run right here. So much speed on the offensive side of the ball. And Mike, this is a team, a lot of the same players from a year ago, but they look totally different from last year.
On defense, Carlos, Coach Stroman told me earlier today that he feels like this is the best defensive line that he's coached as long as he's been here at Weslaco High. 4 seniors there last week got 5 sacks on McAllen Rowe. This is a team that scored over 30 points 6 times last year. They gave up 7 points. That came late in the game, garbage time. And so a lot of kudos to that defense.
All right, speaking of the defense, let's take a look at some of their highlights, because did anyone think the defense was going to be as good as they have been? Hard to get past that big defensive line that we're talking about. A couple of plays right here. Great open field tackle as well. Gabriel Gonzalez coming up there from his corner position to make the nice tackle. Marco Noriega, once again, a great game for him. He's been doing it year in and year out. Putting pressure on the quarterback, nearly a fumble right there. And then, of course, the Camarena, the great play right there behind the line of scrimmage. Camarena with the
interception. Easy interception. And it's going to be returned to at least midfield at the 50, the 45, the 40. Now going down to the 30-yard line. And finally,
And they hustle, Mike.
Exactly, Carlos. And they give you multiple looks. Sometimes they'll come at you with a blitz. Sometimes they'll play zone. That has the offense guessing. Raul Camarena, 10 tackles, 8 solo last week.
Jailbreak, yeah. That's going to be a big loss back to the 20-yard line.
Raul Camarena doesn't look any worse for wear from his injury, huh?
No, not at all.
All over the place. Let's see if it continues tonight. They'll have an opportunity because Corpus Christi Memorial had 5 sacks last week. Let's see if the Panther defense could get a few more tonight.
5 sacks, 2 interceptions. I think this defense is going to be pretty good. Got to also remember, if you go back to the scrimmages, they only scored 1 touchdown on the scrimmages that they have, and they scored 1 touchdown last week. All right, let's take a look at some of the stats from last week's game, and Mike, take us through that.
Yes, it was a pretty well-balanced offensive machine the Wesco High had. If you remember, Carlos, everything was pretty much underneath at the beginning of the game, and then they opened things up in the second half. Jacob Cavazos, 4 total touchdowns, threw for 147 yards, rushed for 72 yards, rushed for a touchdown. But the key to me, Carlos, is that he took care of the football. No turnovers. So he has 3 touchdowns, no interceptions to start the year. Payne Kanab, 17 carries, 72 yards rushing, and scored on that touchdown on the screen, 34 yards. Devin Dena, all-around game, 6 catches, 34 yards, and that 1 touchdown catch that we saw earlier. Jaden Cavazos, 5 catches, 45 yards, 1 touchdown. The combination of Dena Cavazos and Jaden coming through early in the season, those were the top 2 receivers for the Panthers last year.
Yeah, and a balanced attack on the offensive side of the ball. No gaudy yards on the pass for the passing game, and no big yards also for the rushing game. It was very balanced on both sides of the ball.
Absolutely, Carlos, and that's what you look for in a team. I mean, last week, Jeremy Coronado was out, and so right now they need Jacob to probably produce a little bit more running the football. I mean, we saw what the potential he has last year and great start this year. You know, Payne Kanab is going to get more carries this year, and I'm sure there's going to be a couple of more guys, maybe sophomores, that are going to ask to be step up. And so far, so good, Carlos. I like what I see from this unit.
It's a Thursday night game, back-to-back Thursday night games for the Wesco Panthers. Also, some other Thursday night games going on across the Rio Grande Valley. And let's take a look at some of those games. And Mike, first of all, Mac High. If you take a look at some of these 6A teams, Mac High at Edinburgh North.
This is a pair of teams that are 0-1 to start the year. Mac High dropped to Brownsville Lopez 26-14. Edinburgh North lost a tight one to Mercedes 19-16. The Bulldogs lost 45 lettermen from last year's squad, Carlos. Meanwhile, Edinburgh North is rebuilding under first-year head coach Damian Gonzalez, have 29 lettermen back. So let's see what happens tonight.
We also have Pace at Porter.
There we go. 2 teams out of Brownsville that are up and coming, Carlos. 16-5A Division I competition. Both teams, only 1 non-district game to start the year. They're already going to start district competition. Brownsville Porter off a huge win last week over Port Isabel. Hadn't won in 2 years, but in 2015, this is a team that went to the playoffs going 6-5. And Brownsville Pace 28-0 over PSJ Memorial last week.
Mission Vets, an upset last week. They lost to the crosstown rival, the Mission Eagles. They'll try to bounce back. But PSJ Memorial, you got to look out for them.
Absolutely. Landry Gilpin, 200 yards passing, 100 yards rushing, but he had 2 interceptions, Carlos, and Mission outscored Mission Vets 14-0 in the fourth quarter, and that was the difference in the game. The Wolverines are coming from 6A to 5A, have 31 lettermen back. Coach Michael Uribe, formerly at Mercedes, trying to get things going at PSJ Memorial.
All right, well, that'll do it for the KWES preview show. Let's take a look at the band because the band is in the house and everybody is here for the first home game for the Wesco Panthers. It is the Panthers taking on the Jackets tonight, 7 o'clock, right here at Bobby Lackey Stadium. We will have the post-game show after this contest. For Mike Gonzalez, I'm Carlos Robledo. We'll see you after the game.